their first win of the season last night. D&E coming in at 1-7 on the young season. Starting lineups being introduced here inside the Henderson Center. Bobby Iddings and Ben Westfall here inside the Henderson Center, right in press row, right in between, on the bottom of your screen, right in between the two sections of fan seats as Ben Marshall comes into tonight. 7-3 overall. Marshall's had a really good run here in the last couple games. You want to see that run continue if you're Julie Folks right now before you get into that conference play.
Coming off a really good win momentum-wise against Kent State, that 70-62 win, where you had to find a different way to win that one. You attack the basket a little bit more while opening up those three-point shots, and you battled with a Kent State team that was really good and picked to win the MAC conference. So it was a really good win momentum-wise for the Thundering Herd last time out. And these are the games, 2 games left before conference play. You want to be able to handle those games well and get yourself momentum building into that conference start.
Yeah, D&E started off the year 0-7, but then last night, a little bit of a different story. And to tell us a little bit more about last night's game where D&E took on Salem back in Elkins is our third member of our broadcast crew tonight, Riley Burnett. Riley, what you got, my man?
Guys, we're here at the Cam Henderson Center in store for a big matchup tonight. Davis and Elkins taking on Marshall here in Huntington, West Virginia. Now for both these teams, really the key is going to be forcing turnovers. Marshall forcing more than 23 turnovers per game, and this Davis and Elkins team forcing 24 turnovers of their own in their first win of the season last night against Salem University. Guys, back to you.
Thank you, Riley. We'll hear from Riley throughout the broadcast today, as Riley will also talk with both coaches as we move throughout the entire afternoon. It's a Marshall team that won its last time out by 8, 70-62 over Kent State. And really, that was a game, Ben, if you're Marshall, you got out to a lead. You led by as many as 14, but you saw some adversity midway through that third quarter. Maya Babbitt got going for that Kent State team, but Marshall able to rebound from that, and that's what you want to see. Face some adversity, how do you respond?
Yeah, absolutely, and Marshall responded well, was able to attack the basket and open up some shot lanes and get some space, and you like to see that from Julie Folks' group, see what they could do tonight.
So Marshall on possession to start the game off. The Herd has made a small change to its starting lineup today, as Leocha Marigny will be in the middle for Marshall. 3 from the left wing by Meredith Mayer, falls off the front of the rim, but Marshall tracks down the rebound. This is a D&E team that's given up -21 on the boards coming into tonight. Olivia Olson, another 3 for Marshall, in the air from the right wing, comes off the rim. Marshall tries to run down the rebound. Ilderton crashing into that D&E bench, and D&E comes away with the loose ball rebound. Just 34 seconds into the contest, as the Thundering Herd 0 for 2 to start this one from three-point land. Marshall really good from three-point land in its last contest, as already the Herd forces a possession. Forces a turnover, excuse me. Marshall, one of the best defensive teams in the Sun Belt, second in turnovers forced per game.
Not only that, but 16th in the country overall in turnovers forced per game. So you look at not only one of the tops in the Sun Belt Conference, but overall in the country.
Arkansas State, the only one ahead of Marshall right now. Right wing, Olsen thought about a 3 once again, and Marshall rotates it around the top to the free throw line. There's Lewis Utsi, who will drive, penetrate, and if you give her a lane, she's going to take advantage, and Tamaya Lewis Utsi lays it in for Marshall. D&E back on possession as you get a look at the starting lineup, brought to you by University Ford. Olsen launches a 3 from the top of the key, rolls off no good. And loose ball rebound will go to D&E. Starters for D&E, you got a quick look at it just a moment ago. Janiyah Marion, she'll wear number 2. She's the leading scorer for this D&E team. She did not score last night, or she did not play last night, excuse me, against Salem. Averaged nearly 14 points per game. Khaleesi Sawyer as well. Sawyer had 12 points and 6 assists last night, as a jump ball called right in front of us. And possession arrow gives the ball to D&E. Brianna Sapp, Sydney Prince, and Caitlin Parker. Davis and Elkins will start 2 freshmen, 2 sophomores, and a junior. Ball inbounded to Salter, as Salter coming off, like I said, a really good game last night, making her first start of the season. Marion gets into the paint just inside the free throw line, takes a quick jump shot, and puts it in. So that'll knot us up at 2 with 8.5 minutes to go in the first quarter. For Marshall, its starters also brought to you by University Ford. A lot of familiar faces. Lewis Utsi, Olsen, Mayer, Ilderton, and then as I mentioned, Marigny, she gets her own board and goes back up strong. Leocha Marigny coming off a 9.4 rebound, 4 block performance against Kent State on Saturday. and picking up right where she left off, Ben.
Good performance and came off the bench and performed well. And great job just getting the board. Marshall's done a great job of getting these offensive boards so far and having that second chance opportunity.
Olivia Olson brings the board down. She tries to go coast to coast. Good job by D&E, shutting her off on the drive. Marshall right corner for Ilderton, just a little bit too tall for her. Now back to Mayer, right wing, 3 up off the left side of the rim. Marshall 0 for 4 early on from three-point range. Now Marshall, D&E nearly turns it over. And now the Senators will work it around to the right wing. Top of the key, Marion, now back right wing. 3 up by Parker, and that one rolls off. Couple hands it goes off of. Now back to Parker, just at the top of the key now, and she'll roll in a jump shot.
Got enough space. Leotra Marigny hanging back a little bit. And so Parker gets the shot, gets it to fall.
This is a D&E team that'll go about 15 deep. They're going to play 5 games in 7 days. This is the second in just as many days. Ilderton, 3 from the left wing, rattles home. Peyton Ilderton, the senior from Logan, gets her first points of the game, shooting nearly 40% from three-point range in the last 6 games.
And for Marshall, you want that three-point shot to fall. As soon as you get one in, it's a good start right there. As see the foul on Tamaya Lewis-Utsi. But you see Marshall shooting 5 three-pointers so far early in this one. You want to get that shot to fall, jump out to that early advantage. And so far, the shots have not been falling from the three-point line. Ilderton finally gets it.
Marion on the drive, you get another look. Lewis-Utsi tried to get the block from behind, instead caught her on the elbow. As Marion will head to the line, 14 points per game. She scored 21 against Fairmont State back in early December. She makes the first free throw to cut the Marshall lead down to 2. It's a D&E team that ranks last in free throw percentage in the Mountain East Conference, but Marion is kind of the exception to that rule. She's 72% from the line coming into tonight. It's a team that going into last night shoots just 55% from the line on the year. Marshall on the handoff, way extended from the basket. Now Marshall tries to go down inside for Marigny. Good hands by Marion, deflects it away along the baseline. Marshall will keep possession with 17 left on the shot clock. Her to inbound to the right of its own bucket. Ilderton triggers the ball in. Now top of the key, Mayer. Her defender falls down. Once dribble, rattles in the 3. Meredith Mayer finally finds the touch from the outside. And one of the best three-point shooters in the conference rolls in her first points, and Marshall's up 10-6 with 6:10 to go in the first quarter. Janiyah Marion, a little bit of a do-it-all player, wearing number 2 for Davis and Elkins, leads the team in points, minutes, and assists. Top of the key, 3 ball is up and swishes home for Khaleesi Salter. That's only her second made 3 of the season. She was 1 for 8 from three-point range coming into tonight. And she is able to find the bottom of the bucket.
Good passing from the Senators. Get Marshall spread out a little bit in the middle of the floor. Opens up that three-point shot.
And now Olson returns the favor for Marshall from the right corner. And pushes the Herd lead back out to 4 with 5.5 minutes to go in the first quarter.
Again, Bobby, all you need to see is one three-pointer fall, no matter who it's from. And now Marshall, it's now 3 three-pointers in a row that's made.
Ball rotated around to the left wing by D&E now. As driving inside, Marion shoots over the 6'3" Marigny, and that's a pretty touch by Janiyah Morgan. And she gets another jump shot to fall and cuts the lead down to 13-11.
You like seeing that from a shooter, be able to drive in a little bit, start backpedaling, and you get that stop, and you have enough space in between you and the defender to pull up that mid-range jumper, and it works out.
Marshall rotates the ball around to the right wing to Olson, now down on the block to Marigny. As the Herd just works it around the perimeter with 7 on the shot clock. Ilderton being guarded tightly. Ilderton drives in, right wing, Olson 3 with 3 on the shot clock, and the ball comes down out of the air. No one on the floor. Now Yeast on the floor, comes away with the loose ball, and it's going to be a tie-up. And possession arrow is going to give the ball to Marshall. Marigny kind of stayed put on the block that time. Got to come off the block to get the rebound. But Marshall still maintains possession and a 2-point lead with 4:31 to go in the first quarter of action. Herd's got 3 from 3 different players. We'll be back after the break on ESPN+. Huntington, Marshall leads 13-11 over Davis and Elkins. Bobby Eddings joined alongside by Ben Westfall. These two teams matching up for the 6th time overall. Marshall leads the all-time series 5-0. These two teams played last year about 355 days ago. It was a 39-point Marshall win. You talk about Davis and Elkins, you just look up kind of some of the more famous faces that have been a part of the basketball program on the men's or women's side. Press Maravich, yes, the father of Pete. Pete was once the head coach at D&E. After he was the head coach at West Virginia Wesleyan, Marshall turns the ball over on the offensive end. Press Maravich was there before he moved on and took over more prestigious jobs, including LSU, where he coached Pistol Pete as well, before Pistol Pete went on to play for LSU, for the Boston Celtics. Foul committed by Davis and Elkins on the Marshall drive. Khaleesi Sawyer gets whistled, and Marshall will inbound the basketball. Talk a little bit more about Pistol Pete in just a moment, just some of the connections to West Virginia. Left wing, Lewis Utsi, Marshall top of the key, Cassie Ingram. Ingram down inside, Chesterfield goes up and puts it in. Chesterfield got the position, kind of that catch and turn all in the same motion. And Nakia Chesterfield, the D2 transfer, gets her first bucket. Marshall quickly now turning over Davis and Elkins. Lewis Utsi inside, throws up the one-handed shot. It rolls off, and Salter, one of the smaller players on the court, pulls out the rebound. Just 5'4", comes away with the board. Lewis Utsi hungry for a steal, as she leads the conference in steals. She's also 11th in the NCAA. Transfer for Virginia Commonwealth, wearing 3 in white, has been so productive for Marshall on the defensive end. Ball inside, Marshall turns over D&E. 5th turnover now by the Senators. Lewis Utsi into the front court, down inside Chesterfield, beautiful look. She'll drop the dime down inside, 2nd assist for Tamaya Lewis Utsi, 2nd bucket for Chesterfield. Nearly another turnover on Davis and Elkins is now Marion on the right wing. D&E works at top of the key. Long range 3-point shot from Parker. She's 40% from the outside on the year, leads the team. And she buries the triple, cuts the Marshall lead in half to 3 with under 3 minutes to play here in the first quarter. Now Marshall, right wing Yeast, and she'll just throw up a rainbow that falls right in.
Marshall
returns the favor.
Getting some good looks right now. As now another turnover, but Thundering Herd spacing out Davis and Elkins really well offensively and getting those good looks to get those 3-point shots.
Lewis Utsi lets a 3 fly, and it hits iron near side and coming to the hands of D&E. 2:20 to play in the first quarter of action. Marshall leading by 6, 20-14. Right wing, D&E works it around to the top of the key now for Salter. Salter, one of 5 players from the state of Florida on this team, as a shot up by Kylie Morris, another Florida native, rolls off the front of the rim. Cassie Ingram runs the floor for Marshall, thought about a baseline drive. She's cut off. Redmond, foul line jump shot, really pretty look. Yeast just flying in, gets the uncontested rebound and lays it in. Timberland Yeast's first bucket, and a quick timeout called by Donna Carr, the head coach for Davis and Elkins, after that easy rebound for Timberland Yeast. And right now, Ben, I think if you are Donna Carr, you're looking and you see some of the turnovers and kind of some of the rebounding not happening, and that's got to be the conversation inside that huddle.
Yeah, and you're shooting the ball well, 63% right now from the field. Not only that, but 50% from 3-point land. So you're making the shots, you're getting good shot opportunities. You're sticking with Marshall and having some answers. But again, it's those turnovers that are costly. 6 turnovers right now by D&E. Not only that, but defensively, I mean, you look at that rebounding. You've given Marshall a lot of second chance opportunities in this game. Marshall so far with 4 second chance points, but it's all about those offensive rebounds. And Marshall with 4 of them right now. And you saw that offensive rebound from Timberland Yeast. You see 2 D&E players backing up, potentially boxing out players that just aren't even there. They give enough space, and Yeast just comes in undetected.
D&E only 8 field goals attempted thus far. Marshall with 18. You can chalk that up to Marshall forcing 6 turnovers this one already. Herd trying to force another one now as a walk on the far side. Cassie Ingram. You look, Ingram already at 5'11", the long-armed guard, the sophomore guard, just creates havoc defensively and forces turnover number 7.
She's a scrappy defender, and she's not afraid to get into an offensive player's face. Just not give any sort of space whatsoever. And you mentioned that the long arms, just being able to have that wingspan out, block the vision.
Redmond, beautiful look down inside Chesterfield. And Ariana Redmond, who continues to do a little bit of everything for this Marshall team, helps the Herd extend the lead out to 10. That's now 6 for Chesterfield.
That's three times now, that play has worked, where Chesterfield just gets a little bit of space underneath the basket and finds herself able to get the shot.
Drive inside and an and one for Brianna Sapp as she throws it off the glass and it rolls in. She'll head to the free throw line to try and make it a three-point play. Real aggressive play that time by Sapp on the drive. She got inside. Ingram brought the hand down, caught the face just a little bit, and now Sapp will head to the line. Just 43% shooter from the line this season as her free throw off the back rim, and Marshall gets it into the hands of Redmond. Now they'll give it to Lewis Utsi, who will call out the play. Ohio, you may have heard it on our crowd mic near side here at that scores table. Now Ingram, left wing three up high, and Redmond taps out the board to Ingram. Marshall, left wing now Lewis Utsi. She'll let one fly from deep. It rolls out. Redmond gets the board, and she'll dribble it out to the perimeter. Marshall's going to reset now. About a 12-second difference between shot clock and game clock. Redmond three up off the front rim. Again, rebound tapped around, nearly tapped in by Cassie Ingram. Looked like a game of tips. And on the backcourt, on the rebound by Marion, a walk is called. Take a look at Janiyah Marion, the sophomore from Centerville, Virginia, as the turnovers continue to pile up for Donna Carr's team.
Thought maybe it was going to be a jump ball there because Marion gets tied up with Cassie Ingram, but apparently before the time was even going to happen, Marion just taking one too many steps.
Inside Chesterfield, now Marshall, left wing Ingram, another three up by the Herd. Chesterfield tips the rebound, and it falls into the hands. Now again, a ball on the floor, and a foul is going to be called. As Cassie Ingram gets called for one as she tried to take it away from Madison Mims. That's her second. And Ingram will have to sit down with those two quick fouls.
And sometimes the cost of being a scrappy defender like that, just get a little bit too handsy, too jumpy, and get yourself into foul trouble. So now Ingram with two fouls is going to have to hit the bench.
4 on the shot clock, 4 on the game clock now. Left wing, there's Sapp, gets inside, and clock's going to run out. Good job by the Thundering Herd. As I don't think D&E realized how much time was left on the clock before the end of the first quarter. So Marshall leads 24-16 after 1 quarter of play. The Herd 10 of 24 from the field, led in scoring in that first quarter by Timberland East, who had 5, and Nakia Chesterfield with 6. Marshall leads 24-16 as we head to the second quarter from the Henderson Center on ESPN+. So leads 24-16 as we head to the second quarter of action. Get a look at Davidson Elkins head coach Donna Carr. 4th season at the helm at D&E, 12-75. Her teams have struggled. The best record she had was in her first season. She comes to D&E after a 2-year stint at Hillsborough Community College down in Tampa, which you can see that her roster littered with Tampa natives as well. She played for 3 years at South Carolina before transferring to D2 Catawba. On the other side, the Marshall head coach Julie Falks, trying to get to 500 in her career at Marshall. Herd wins this one. She gets to 23-23 at the helm for the Herd. Marshall coming out in a 1-3-1 zone. You can kind of see where Marshall is, and the Herd forces another turnover. That's number 8 that the Herd has been able to force in this one.
They started in that 1-3-1, then as soon as they switched to that 2-3, it bounced pass inside, and Ilderton was able to read it and intercept it.
Olsen drives inside, kicks it left wing, Ilderton. Olsen now trying to post inside and gets called for 3 in the key. So she was able to drive inside, but then establishing a post presence that time is what she did. She's got to get her both feet outside of the paint. For the first time, really, it feels like all game, D&E's able to bring it up. No pressure from Marshall. As the Herd goes a little tall this time. Blessing King also just came in for the first time. Marion drives inside, little jumper as Marigny got the block that time. Marigny had 4 of those on Saturday against Kent State. Marshall as a team in that one had 12 blocks. Down inside, Blessing King. King tries to throw it up top, Marigny. That's Marigny out of position a little bit. She's not a top of the key player. At 6'3", Marshall wants her down on the block for rebounds. Got 7 on the shot clock. Down inside looking for King, and Marshall throws it away. Back-to-back possessions of turnovers for the Thundering Herd.
Davidson Elkins has done a really good job of just defending inside the paint, cutting off any sort of lanes right now, forcing Marshall to really find something at the three-point line.
Marshall without a field goal attempt yet here in the second quarter. 3 from the corner, and it just basically deadens off the rim, as that shot was from Sydney Prince, who just came back in. Back inside, right wing 3 again, partially blocked, but a rebound right into the hands that time of Coy Shabazz. And Shabazz goes back up with it. A quick 4-0 run from D&E cuts the Marshall lead back down to 6.
Right place, right time for Shabazz. I think it's good when Marshall gets the block, that slight deflection, but it lands right into Shabazz's hands. He's able to capitalize.
Ilderton, a step back 3, as it looked like some miscommunication offensively for Marshall. Ilderton just takes the matters into her own hands, and she's 2 for 2 from long range in this one. 6 points now for the senior from Logan. Marshall back on top by 9. Marion dribbles in the lane again. She loves that jump shot right at the foul line. Off the front rim, too short. Now Marshall in transition. Right corner, Ilderton, heat check again. There it is. She gives the 3 fingers, holds them out. Looks like she blew a little kiss towards the bench that time. Back-to-back 3s for Peyton Ilderton. Marshall leads by 12. Ilderton quickly leads the team with 9.
A great pass from Olivia Olson that just gets barely over the outstretched fingers of the D&E defender, right into the hands of Ilderton, gets that gather step and puts up the shot in.
Shot off and off of a leg and went off a Marshall player. Rolls into the Marshall bench, and it'll be D&E ball from right in front of the Marshall bench. Like you mentioned, a great pass, just catches and shoots. You get the feet set, you're going to see the Peyton Ilderton from the Sun Belt Conference tournament last season.
Not only that, but Ilderton having enough space because she outruns that defender. That was Janiyah Marion, who she outruns. And again, that pass over the outstretched arm of Marion, and Ilderton has enough space. She's going to fire away from three-point lane all day.
Marion goes a jab step around Olson, misses everything on the shot, and Blessing King runs down the board for Marshall. Herd into the front court now. Ilderton crossover, trying to find some freedom. Now she hands it off to Mayer, top of the key, and Mayer rolls it in. The 3-point shot starting to fall for Marshall, and it's a 15-point lead for the Herd. 6.5 minutes left to go before half.
And the 2 senior duo, Peyton Ilderton and Meredith Mayer, those 2 together can get rolling, especially at the 3-point line. It's such a dangerous combo. And I mean, you try to defend one and another one opens up. It's just so tough to stop.
9-0 run right now for Marshall as Mayer nearly takes it away. Good hands by Benjamin Westfall. Good look there.
Yeah.
Good look. Yeah, she had a free lane to dive over. If your book bag wasn't in the way, she could have dived right over.
She could have used the book bag as like a little cushion.
As a little pillow. Fair enough. Fair enough. You were thinking about that the whole time, right? On the drive, ball is off with rim, and now Mayer on the outlet pass from King. Mayer coast to coast, tries to go up with the layup. Great defense by Khaleesi Salter as she slows down Meredith Mayer, who had a wide open lane. And Marshall maintains possession though. Take a look, good outlet pass. Salter, tremendous hustle as Mayer goes up. The 5'4" Salter going up against the 6' Mayer, and Salter wins the battle that time. Marigny thought about a 3 from the right point, and instead Marshall handed off for Mayer. Mayer handoff Olson. Now Olson, she'll launch one, and Marshall's 3 for 3 stretch from 3-point range goes by the wayside. Marigny comes away with the rebound and is fouled.
Good effort from Marigny. Just get that one hand and collapse that ball into your mitts. Force the foul.
Until that 3 missed by Olson, Marshall was 3 for 3 in the quarter from 3-point range. Now Marshall all the way to the right wing. Ilderton, she thought about it. They want to get her the ball again to give her a chance from 3-point range. She tries to throw an entry pass for Marigny and turns it over. Third turnover of the quarter for Marshall as coast to coast goes Jatia Marks, her first points. After she had 11 last night. She was 9 for 10 from the line last night as well. She went into last night without a single made free throw on the year. Blessing King, aggressive, strong drive and rolls it in. That's a great drive by Blessing King. She gets her first points. She sat out against Kent State with an injury. Marshall back on top by 15. Again, D&E's second game in as many nights. After beating Salem for its first win of the year last night. 3-point shot from the left point, finds nothing. And it goes out of bounds, and the possession will go to Marshall. 15-point lead for the Thundering Herd. 4:49 to go in the second quarter of action here in Huntington. Bobby Eddings and Midwest Ball. We'll be right back with more basketball on ESPN+. $35-20. Did you get a look at the Marshall fans in attendance right before the Christmas holiday? Exactly 2 weeks from today. Some Christmas flavor with some, obviously, the Marshall clad green, as well as some D&E flavor, the red in attendance that you will see. Look at the Marshall bench, Julie Fulks, Mikasa Lucas, Peyton Ilderton, among others there. Ilderton with 9 points as she's 3 for 3 from three-point range. She's also got 3 assists. The Marshall point guard shooting nearly 40% from three-point range, 10 points per game in the last 5 as well. Of course, she was a state champion for Logan, the Logan Wildcats, back in 2022. Maya Lewis-Uti into the front court. Jatiah Marks, great defense by her. I think the best way to describe that is she was a pest and takes the ball away from Lewis-Uti. Marshall's point guard Ilderton out of the matchup right now. D&E noticing that and putting some pressure on Lewis-Uti. Inside, fadeaway jump shot, rolls off. That was Caitlin Parker, the sophomore from Westmont, Illinois. Now Cassie Ingram on the board all the way coast to coast. Can't get the left-handed shot to roll in. That's a great job by her going coast to coast, and now a block from behind by Lewis-Uti. And now we go coast to coast again. And Jatiah Marks smacks the arm of Tamaya Lewis-Uti, the senior for the Thundering Herd from Trenton, New Jersey. And that'll set up the Thundering Herd with an inbounds just to the left of us. Marshall right now, 14 for 30 from the floor, 47%, 7 for 17 from three-point range. Herd hasn't gotten to the foul line just yet. Right wing Lewis-Uti thought about a three, gets inside, up off the glass, no good. Thought Marshall might have its first foul shot attempt from that one, but instead, back on possession for the Herd. Down inside, looking for Chesterfield. She's able to keep possession for Marshall. Timberland Yeast. Marshall works it all the way around to Ingram on the left wing. Ingram on the drive. Good defense by D&E. Now down inside Chesterfield with the catch. She'll go up strong and lay it in. It's a great defensive possession by Davis and Elkins, but just better offense by Marshall working it around the perimeter and down inside.
Yeah, absolutely. And Davis and Elkins really cut off some lanes and just defended the paint really well. Just a great input pass to Chesterfield, and that's 4 times now that play has worked out for Marshall, finding Chesterfield underneath the basket, and she gets just enough space and aggression to get to the basket.
Ingram down inside to Chesterfield. She'll kick it left wing. Lewis-Uti looking for her first triple, and it comes off as D&E comes away with the board. That was Kylie Morris that was able to pull down the rebound. Marshall +7 on the boards right now. Parker, baseline jump shot off the far iron, but again, a rebound run down by Borum. D&E back on possession. Inside goes Parker once again, but Marshall comes away with the board. Ariana Redmond running the floor for Marshall, tries to throw a skip pass to the left wing, throws it out of bounds. That's the 6th turnover on Marshall.
Throw it right to Coy Shabazz on the bench for Davis and Elkins.
17-point lead for Marshall. Herd with a 13-2 run over the last 5.5 minutes, taking advantage of D&E with only 1 field goal out of their last 10 attempts. Salter tries to get inside, little turnaround jumper from the baseline. Too strong as Yeast pulls away the board for the Thundering Herd. Marshall trying to extend its lead with just over 2 minutes to play here in the second quarter of action. Marshall shooting nearly 40% from downtown. Good defense again by Salter on Ingram. Salter very much a pest on defense. Lewis-Uti tries to drive, and Addison Borum commits the foul on the bump. That'll be her first foul. 3rd team foul on Davis and Elkins. Lewis-Uti got the corner that time, and Borum Just basically had to bump her to shut off the driving lane. Pass inbounded to Redmond. Redmond tries to go up from the right block. She gets fouled, and she'll head to the line.
That's back-to-back on Addison Borum as well. So you come in quickly, 2 fouls on Borum.
So Ariana Redmond will head to the line. Her 6th year of eligibility, 2 for 2 from the line on the season, as she puts up the first one and finds the bottom of the net. This is a Marshall team that is on the year 80% from the foul line. That's first in the Sun Belt Conference. As she knocks in 2 in a row. Marshall has now made, going back to the Coppin State game, 22 consecutive free throws. Their last miss was by Peyton Ilderton with 4.5 minutes to go in the 3rd quarter against Coppin State. An aggressive drive by Jatia Marks draws the foul on the Herd, and Jatia Marks will head to the line.
Bobby, there's a reason why they're called free throws. You know, you want those shots to fall, and those are free points. They should be free points, and so I bet Julie Folks looking at her team is like, hey, we got to work on this, because if you get to the free throw line, you have to get those points. Those are crucial points that you cannot leave, you know, off the board.
Been reading the basketball dictionary, huh?
Yeah, a little bit.
Free is free still, right?
Yeah.
Marks rolls in the first free throw. She's now 10 for her last 11, dating back to last night against Salem. As Marks finds both, she's got 4 points, and it's now a 17-point lead for Marshall with 1:43 to go in the first half. Maya Lewis-Utsi across midcourt. Thundering Herd looking for a pick as Redmond can't get it, and now she'll just try and find some free space. Lewis-Utsi inside, nearly an offensive foul. Marks tried to draw it, and Lewis-Utsi, though, just floats up the shot. She's got 4 now. A little bit of discrepancy between the official stats as Parker's 3 is off the far rim. And Marshall running the floor. Lewis-Utsi all the way down, and she'll lay it up and in.
Marshall's done a great job a couple times throughout this game of going that coast to coast. You saw Cassie Ingram have a chance, just couldn't connect on the shot. Lewis-Utsi this time connects, gets the shot to fall.
Good defense by Ariana Redmond. Forces the jump ball as she ties up Borum on the drive. And the jump ball gives the possession back to the Thundering Herd. If Marshall can get a bucket this time down, it'll go back to 50% from the floor in this matchup. Yeast weaving around the top of the key, tries to throw a pass to the right corner for Lewis-Utsi, just a little bit off, and then it's poked away from behind by Marks. Marks is really good defensively. We've already seen that a couple times. As now, speaking of good defensively, the Herd forces a turnover. 12 turnovers now for D&E. Lewis-Utsi inside, goes aggressively to the bucket, and she goes up with the shot. It falls off, but a foul is going to be called on Davison Elkins. And that'll send Tamaya Lewis-Utsi to the line. Foul goes on Kylie Morris.
You talk about a player that's improved at the free throw line. Tamaya Lewis-Utsi has done a great job of just staying composed there at the charity stripe, now up to 80% there this year.
Leads the team, 21 for her last 22 from the line in the last 6. As now Marshall has made 23 free throws in a row. Goes all the way back to the Coppin State game. 12 for 12 on Saturday against Kent State, 11 for 12 against Coppin State, and now 4 for 4 from the line in this one. Again, as Ben so astutely pointed out, they're free.
If they're right there, you got to take them. And you see so many times throughout basketball games that those points left off the board from the free throw line just come in huge, especially in close losses. You just cannot let those points be missed.
Marshall forces another turnover. That's now 13 on Davison Elkins. As in the backcourt, Borum bumps into Redmond. Good sportsmanship, but she'll help her up. As that'll send Ariana Redmond to the free throw line. So Borum picks up 3 quick fouls in just 6 minutes of action. As that was just aggressive defense in the backcourt. That draws the foul for the Marshall 6th year, Ariana Redmond.
Again, you don't hate that aggressiveness because Redmond is losing her step a little bit, losing the dribble. So you want that aggressiveness to try to force a turnover. Borum just a little bit too much contact.
Redmond puts up the free throw, finds the bottom of the cup.
And again, sometimes as a defender, you get a little bit too jumpy. You see an opportunity right there to try to get a takeaway. You get a little bit too antsy. and it results in a foul.
Marshall 6 for 6 from the line. 26 in a row for the Herd. 25-point lead for Marshall. 10 seconds to go till half. D&E left wing Borum. She'll take the shot. Can't find any rim. As the ball will go off of Meredith Mayer across the baseline. 5.5 seconds left to play here in the first quarter. Herd leading by 25. Borum inbounds. 3 on the clock. Shot up and falls for Madison Miller. Excuse me, that was Mikaylee Morris. As Morris gets her first bucket, and that'll set our halftime score as Marshall has a 23-point lead on Davidson Elkins. 47-24 lead for Marshall. Thundering Herd in the first half led in scoring officially. Tamaya Lewis-Utsi had 10. Lewis-Utsi's impact also felt across 2 assists. Senior in this one also with 5 steals early on. It's Marshall establishing the defensive pressure on this Davidson Elkins team in that second quarter of action is what has staked Marshall out to the early 25-point lead. What we're gonna do now, we're gonna kick it over to Riley Burnett. He's joined by the Marshall head coach, Julie Fulks.
Coach, you guys did such a strong job in that first half on the offensive glass, able to have so many second chance opportunities. Not only was it mean to get those opportunities, but to capitalize on them.
Well, it's one of the things that we talk about and we work on is that our offensive rebounding is an indication of how hard we're playing. And so I thought it was a good job going to the boards. More importantly, we had 24 possessions and we got a shot up 23 out of 24. And so the turnovers in the first quarter were really good. We had way too many in the second quarter. So that's unfortunate. And we got in a little bit of a lineup switch that we wouldn't probably go with normally, but we wanted to see how that would play out. But you know, the offensive rebounding will always save us. If we're going to shoot a lot of threes, we need to make sure we're going to get the misses. And then, you know, Tim got picked up an easy layup because of that. So those things come with it.
We talked about this a little on the broadcast. Your team has made 26 straight free throws. So what does it mean to take advantage of those free opportunities?
It means if we miss the next one, it's your fault. You know, we have good shooters. We have good free throw shooters. You know, we need to get to the rim more. It's one of the things. We don't get to the free throw line very often. And so, you know, as we keep attacking the rim, you know, hopefully that'll come. Maybe one of the problems is we keep finding ourselves open at the three-point line. So, but it made a huge difference in the Kent State game. If we weren't 12 for 12, that game could have been a lot harder. So we'll keep shooting free throws, and we shot 70 of them yesterday, so everybody did. So we'll keep working on it.
Thank you, Coach.
47-24, our score at the half. And again, you want to put a real quick programming note. If Marshall misses the next free throw, it's Riley Burnett's fault, not the play-by-play guy's fault. 23-point lead for Marshall. Herd looking for win number 8. We'll be back with more from halftime here in Huntington on ESPN+. 47-24, Marshall with the lead at the half over the Davidson Elkins Senators. The final home non-conference game for Marshall as the Herd looks for win number 8. Bobby Innings joined alongside by Ben Westfall courtside here at the Cam Henderson Center, also known as the Big Butterfly. You don't believe me? Look it up. Take a look at some first half highlights between Marshall and Davidson Elkins, and really it's been a story of 2 things for Marshall: forcing turnovers and the outside shot.
Yeah, Marshall right now 7 of 18 from three-point land, which is 39%. Probably not a mark that you want to see from the Thundering Herd, but you look at it, 18 attempts for the three-point line. Has been able to open up space to have a lot of those shots. You just have to knock down a couple more. But, I mean, Marshall, you get 21 points from the three-point line. You have to be a little bit happy with that.
Marshall, as you take a look, Tamaya Lewis-Utsi, the kick out, Peyton Ilderton was red hot from the outside. She was 3 for 3 from downtown. She was able to catch fire. Peyton Meredith Mayer, her fellow native of West Virginia, was able to also rattle in 2 threes as well from the outside. Marshall with 20 points in the paint in that first half. Then you take the 3 threes, 21 points. There's 41, the 6 free throws. Everything from Marshall has come in the painted area, the three-point line, or the foul line. You also look for Marshall forcing turnovers, 12 points off turnovers for Marshall against a D&E team that, again, played last night. They're going to be gassed at some point. That's going to catch up with you a little bit, and we kind of saw that with the shooting numbers in the first quarter and the second quarter as well.
Yeah, you saw Davidson Elkins, have a little bit of a response to Marshall in that first quarter. Yeah, Senators trailed 24-16 after the first, but when Marshall was able to get down, get a three-point bucket or get something in the paint, Davidson Elkins had a pretty good response, if not within the next possession or within the second to next possession. So the Senators had at least that response for the moment, and since then has lacked that, and only 8 points in the second quarter shows.
Marshall with 23 in that quarter as the Herd stakes itself out to a 23-point lead. We'll talk more about who had all the points for Marshall in just a couple minutes, but Marshall, as it stands right now, 26 free throws made in a row for this Thundering Herd team, and that's a big thing. If Marshall continues to get to the line, like Julie Fulks has talked about, that's going to become key, not only tonight, Ben, for the rest of the season for Marshall as well, to knock down free throws.
Yeah, especially in conference play when those free throws become ever so crucial against those tough conference opponents. You have to find a way to get to the free throw line first, though, and take those tough drives. You know, if you see a little bit of a lane clogged up, see if you can draw that contact and just go aggressive.
Marshall last in the conference in free throws attempted and free throws made per game, but if you're going to get to the free throw line, you got to make it count. 23-point lead for Marshall at the half. We're about 10 minutes away from the second half of action here inside the Henderson Center. We'll be back with more Marshall women's basketball on ESPN+. Advantage for the Thundering Herd as we get closer to the second half of action here in Huntington. You see some of the Christmas dancing going on, getting everyone into the holiday spirit. Bobby Eddings joined alongside by Ben Westfall, and Marshall doesn't necessarily need to get into the giving spirit, Ben, as you look down at the stat sheet. 11 assists in the first half on 17 made buckets for this Marshall team, but the stat sheet stuffer, as she's becoming known, Tamaya Lewis-Utsi continues to lead the way for Marshall.
Yeah, Tamaya Lewis-Utsi has really given the gifts to all of her teammates this holiday season by just being able to spread the ball around. And when you have Tamaya Lewis-Utsi, who's so good at driving the ball in and just finding those mid-range jumpers as well, you see those defenders kind of close in on Lewis-Utsi, which allows her teammates to get open. And she's able to find an outlet pass to get another shot off from somebody else, whether that be Meredith Mayer, Peyton Ilderton, somebody down underneath the bucket with Chesterfield or Marigny, whoever the case may be. But Lewis-Utsi is such a dynamic player. She gets those 2-3 defenders on her, and that opens up so much offensively. That's why she has all those assists.
Tamaya Lewis-Utsi opening the three-point shooters for Marshall, which allowed them to shoot nearly 40% from three-point range in the first half. She also is a big contributor to those 20 points in the paint, along with Nakia Chesterfield. Both of them led Marshall in that first half. Well, I guess I will say led, but both of them had 8 points. Pete Ilderton had 9. Those three were the high scorers in the first half for the Thundering Herd. You take a look, Marshall shooting nearly 50% from the field in the first half. I think, though, if you're Julie Fulks, Marshall just +7 on the boards in the first half. This is the D&E team coming into tonight was -21.5 on the boards coming into the year. You want to see more rebounding from your team. You've seen really good rebounding early on. You probably want to see even more of that in the third and fourth quarter.
Yeah, absolutely. Just not allow Davis and Elkins to get that next possession or that second chance opportunity. Marshall started out really good on the boards, but kind of laid off a little bit, allowed Davis and Elkins to have some presence underneath the paint to get those rebounds and try to get those second chance opportunities, especially offensively. And you see D&E able to get that offensive rebound total up to 6. So for Marshall, you like to not fall asleep a little bit at the wheel on the rebounding terms, and just be able to fight to the bucket and just be able to get that rebound. And of course, offensively, you don't want to have to worry about it because you want to be able to have the shot fall.
Kudos to Marshall. This is the D&E team that love to force turnovers. Marshall with only 7 turnovers tonight. D&E last night forced 24 turnovers from Salem. That was after forcing 23 against Frostburg State back on December 6th. Marshall with only 7 tonight as the Thundering Herd taking care of the basketball, which is ultimately assisted in that 23-point lead for the Thundering Herd. You see the holiday season in full effect here inside the Cam Henderson Center. Marshall trying to get back in that giving spirit and give its fans the 8th win of the season. We'll be back with more Marshall women's basketball in just a few right here on ESPN+.
Men put their skin through a lot. Take your skin to its happy place with Dove Men's Micro Moisture technology that strengthens your skin. Dove Men, care changes everything.
Taxes was chasing updates and getting nowhere. Now Taxes is a TurboTax expert, doing it all for you. While keeping you in the loop. So you can keep chasing this feeling. Now this is Taxes. Intuit TurboTax.
23-point lead for Marshall, 47-24, as we're about a minute away from the second half of action here in Huntington. Davis and Elkins looking for its second win in as many nights, 5 games in 7 days for D&E. And to talk with the head coach, Donna Carr, of the Davis and Elkins Senators, is Riley Burnett.
Coach, you just played a game last night. Now you're here playing again tonight. What do you have to do really to manage the fatigue and the stamina for the team?
You got to pray a little bit. No, we just made sure the girls got a good meal last night. For sleeping a little bit, got some therapy, some ice, things like that, and just hyped them up about the day.
In the second quarter there, you guys did a really good job of trying to keep Marshall on the perimeter on the offensive side, did a good job defending the interior. So what's the message in the halftime in the locker room just now to try to expand the defense out a little bit, but still maintaining that interior defense?
Yeah, well, you definitely got to make sure that you're emphasizing the positives. We had a good first quarter. Second quarter, we got a little sloppy, got some turnovers, and it got us down. But we read the scout. We know what their strengths are and what their weaknesses are, so we're going to try to make sure that we exploit them.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you, Riley. Thank you, Coach Carr. Again, Donna Carr played 3 seasons at South Carolina in the 90s, transferred to Catawba, and then she led Catawba to a conference championship and a D2 Elite 8 appearance. Played professionally in Finland after that. She's also a member of the Salisbury Rowan Sports Hall of Fame, class of 2024. Scored nearly 1,700 points in her high school career. She was also a standout in volleyball and track and field. That's more than I can say. I don't know about you, Ben. We talk. We just talk.
I ran track for 2 years.
I tried.
In high school.
I tried.
That's when I realized you have to give it up.
Conditioning was hard.
Yeah, you have to give it up and get behind the headset.
AKA, I got lazy.
Same here.
Davis and Elkins on possession to start this second half of action. Marshall will come out with Olsen, Ilderton, Marigny, Lewis Utsi, and Mayer. Same 5 as the start of the game with. A running jumper rolls off to the near side iron. And Meredith Mayer with the board for Marshall. For D&E, Prince, Sapp, Parker, as well as Marion and Salter. So again, the same 5 to start the game for D&E as well. Marshall weave action, top of the key. Lewis Utsi all the way to the bucket, lays it in. So Lewis Utsi has gotten across the double-digit barrier. She averages 14 per game for Marshall. She's making her case for an all-conference selection. Of course, the conference slate yet to play. Right wing 3, Sapp, and good rebound that time by Olivia Olsen. Peyton Ilderton into the front court. Right wing Olsen, she's wanted to launch the 3. It rolls off, and again, a rebound tap to Lewis Utsi. Up and under, cannot get the putback to go. And then Marigny is called for the over the back, and Prince comes down the floor with the hands in the air cheering. Thrilled that she was able to draw the foul on the 6'3" Marigny. Prince, the freshman, stands at just 5'10", but a good box out. Draws the foul on the Marshall interior player, Marigny, and then D&E turns it over. Lewis Utsi up ahead, Olsen. Olsen, one dribble, left hand, that's technique and fundamentals as Olivia Olsen lays it in from the left side. And the Marshall lead is 27. 5 points now for Olsen to match her jersey.
You can see the Marshall players spread out offensively in transition off the takeaway. And Olsen just unmarked pretty much by the D&E defense. And has a wide open lane to the basket.
Parker jump shot rolls off. Lewis Utsi had the board, poked away from her for a moment. And then Marshall comes away with the board as the ball goes across the baseline. Last touch by the Senators. Davis and Elkins, a member of the Mountain East Conference, 0-2 in the Mountain East to begin the season. About 800 students at Davis and Elkins. 400 of those are student athletes. Olsen, left point 3, rolls in. Olivia Olsen trying to find the range from the outside. She's 2 for 7 from distance. And the Marshall lead is now 30.
It's one player you'd like to see going, Olivia Olsen, the young freshman from New Smyrna Beach, Florida. You
got a ton of talent.
You can see that three-point shot is so good as well. She has the ability to find that three-point shot, especially when she's hot. But you got to just have that confidence. Young freshman, this level, it's all about building that confidence in year 1 and just finding yourself what you can do.
Marigny at the foul line, takes a couple dribbles, drives inside, and Marigny, a strong, aggressive drive on Sydney Prince, draws a smile from the head coach, Julie Fulks, and Leocha Marigny has 4 now. And a timeout by Donna Carr as Marshall quickly out. 9-0 run to start the third quarter of play, and the Herd leads by 32. First time out of the second half will be extended into a full, and that'll lead us into a break. 32-point lead for Marshall. The Herd shooting 51% from the floor. 7:12 to go in the third quarter. We'll be back with more Marshall women's basketball on ESPN+. 7:12 to go before the third quarter ends. Marshall leading by 32. YMCA blaring throughout the Henderson Center speakers. Ben dancing beside me. It's about the only dance either one of us should do, Benjamin.
Yep.
Davis and Elkins on possession with the basketball. Janiyah Marion. Again, Marshall slowed her down. She got off to a pretty hot start as now D&E works it inside. And Parker gets the bucket. She's now 3 for 10 from the floor. She's got 7 points. That leads all scorers for D&E. 30-point lead for the Thundering Herd. Left wing Peyton Ilderton scanning the floor. Top of the key Olsen. Olsen gets inside the three-point line. Has to pull it back out for a moment. Marigny motioning for some help. Lewis Utsi gets inside, nearly loses possession, keeps possession, 2 on the shot clock. Ilderton, 1, launches the 3 off the front rim. Olsen runs down the board for Marshall, saves it in, but right to the hands of Marion as she'll come front court. Janiyah Marion takes a couple dribbles, loses possession. Lewis Utsi now with it for the Herd, driving. A pump fake on the pass by Lewis Utsi. She goes in strong and puts it in.
I say you got that outlet with Peyton Ilderton just wide open for the 3, but Lewis Utsi does a great job, just that little Euro step. That one just barely rolls in off the front of the rim.
Good spacing that time by Marshall offensively, which frees up the lane. Marigny, great defense that time as Prince tries to go around her, but Marigny just using that 6'3" wingspan, alters the shot, and Marshall comes away with the board. Herd now plus 12 on the rebounds. 5.5 minutes to play in the third quarter. Marshall leads by 32. Marigny catches at the foul line, scanning as Peyton Ilderson sets the screen. She'll pop back out on the right wing, and now she'll launch from three-point range, and she misses back-to-back threes after starting 3 for 3 from the outside. Marshall still leading by 32. The Herd is forced in this one, 15 turnovers for Davis and Elkins. 3 from the corner, and Ilderton comes down with the board. Again, this is a D&E team that's played back-to-back nights. And if we saw anything in the first to second quarter, Ben, it was that the D&E shooting dropped off from the first quarter to the second quarter pretty significantly. You expect to see that playing on a back-to-back night.
Yeah, you see that fatigue just start to kick in a little bit, and especially, you know, the difference level of the divisions of play. As Lewis Utsi drives and draws the foul, but that difference of play level with the divisions, you see that fatigue start to kick in a little bit. Marshall, of course, just very pesty defensively as well. That'll wear any team out, Division I or II. So Marshall's done a great job of just taking advantage of that fatigue.
26 free throws in a row have been made by Marshall. We'll see if they can make it 28 after the break. Riley Burnett is on pins and needles right now, according to Julie Fulks. We'll be back with more Marshall women's basketball on ESPN+. 4:46 to go in the third quarter of action. Marshall with a 32-point lead, 58-26 on the Davis and Elkins Senators. D&E in this one, just 14% from the field here in the third quarter of action. Tamaya Lewis Utsi heading to the line for the Thundering Herd as she puts in the first free throw. Take a look at the foul once again as she drives inside. Just a little bit of a bump that time from Parker, and that sends the Marshall senior to the line. And she knocks in both.
I see Riley Burnett giving a little fist bump over there, our sideline reporter.
28 in a row now for Marshall from the line. 14 now for Lewis Utsi, which leads all scorers. Davis and Elkins, nice bounce pass into the high post. Shot off the right side that time as Koi Shabazz took the jumper and it just rolls off.
Now Marshall going with a little bit bigger of a lineup. Chesterfield, Ingram, and King out there.
Ingram takes the shot from the corner, and Blessing King runs down the rebound. Cassie Ingram, the only Marshall player to play in this one that hasn't scored. Chesterfield backing down, now top of the key, King. King on the drive, real aggressive drive, and King, a soft touch off the glass. And she's got 4 now, and the Marshall lead is 36.
You like to see that from an offensive player. You get a little bit of a lane, and you start to have that little 1-2 step to get yourself started on the drive, and King lowers the shoulder just a little bit, not too aggressive to draw contact and have an offensive foul, but you get that just enough space to get the bucket.
D&E shooting 29% from the field in the game. That's after shooting 67% from the field in the first quarter. As a double drill goal is called on Coy Shabazz. That's 16 turnovers now on Davis and Elkins. Again, it's a Marshall team. It's 11th in the NCAA, second in the Sun Belt in steals per game with 14. Marshall forces 23 turnovers a game. That's second in the Sun Belt, 16th in the country. Redmond goes left around the screen, now between the legs. Top of the key, now Marshall down inside King. King turning and rolls it in. Again, that's always so hard to do. That soft touch to roll it in, and King got 6.
The Marshalls love that play so far a lot tonight. That either bounce pass or a little pass inside to the paint, and you have that one-on-one with a strong offensive player, whether it's been Chesterfield or Blessing King just now, and it's worked so far.
38-point lead for the Thundering Herd. Marshall on an 8-0 run. Herd has forced 17 turnovers. As Marshall looks to extend the lead, as Redmond gets fouled by Marion, as she got a little bit greedy that time, tried to reach in and take a cookie out of the cookie jar. First foul on Marion. Second team foul of this third quarter. Ariana Redmond, left wing now Yeast down inside King. King again turning, and King, just a real strong post move that time by the senior from Columbus. And that's 8 now for Blessing King. The Marshall lead is 40. And Marshall takes it away. Yeast coming down the floor for the Herd, gets bumped by Marion as Yeast goes down and lays it in. Marshall 21-2 in the quarter right now, as the Herd leads by 42.
And if you want somebody with speed, Timberland Yeast, so good at just tracking that down, and not only that, but going coast to coast, has that speed. You're not gonna be able to stop her.
Marion in the corner, and now bounce pass out of the corner. D&E has turned the ball over a couple times down the floor. A little jump shot from just inside the three-point line as Madison Mims drops it in. That ends a 12-0 Marshall run. 68-28, still a 40-point lead for the Herd. That's just the second field goal of this third quarter for Davis and Elkins. Ball poked away from Marshall and it rolls across the baseline off of Davis and Elkins. Marshall will maintain possession. Herd now plus 13 on the board. We kind of talked about that at the half.
And one thing that's worked for Davis and Elkins, outside of the turnovers early, but one of the things that's worked has been that mid-range jumper offensively for D&E. It's been able to get a little bit of separation, and although 31%, the main shot that has worked today has been that mid-range jumper.
Ingram, 3, top of the key, rolls off to the right side. King, strong board, goes up, can't get it to fall, gets her own board again, and then gets fouled on the floor. And that'll be the third team foul against D&E. Delana Forrest picks up her first foul. Delana Forrest, the only senior on this roster for Davis and Elkins. 1 senior, 2 juniors, and everybody else sophomores and freshmen. Chesterfield, top of the key pass for Ingram. Ingram trying to go around a defender, now leaves it off Redmond. Redmond, strong, aggressive drive. Chesterfield, great rebound for Marshall, goes back up, gets fouled on the way up, and she'll head to the line. So Nakia Chesterfield will head to the line for Marshall. She's a perfect 7 for 7 from the line on the season. Marshall from the line in this one, 8 for 8.
So 2 jinxes on the line today on this one.
Chesterfield puts the next one up, and it rolls off the front.
So
and that ends a streak of 28 in a row made by Marshall.
So you jinxed Chesterfield, and Burnett had the jinx on the sideline report. Who are we blaming for this one?
And she knocks in the next one. 41-point lead. A broadcaster's jinx is not real. Tell that to me during baseball season when someone mentions a no-hitter. Great defense on the far side by Ariana Redmond, as she knocks the pass away, and it'll be D&E basketball in front of its own bench. 41-point lead for the Herd as you get a look at Caitlin Parker, the sophomore from Westmont, Illinois. Work it all the way to the left corner. Parker takes the three-point shot off the back or side of the backboard, and Yeast comes away at the board for the Herd. Marshall tries to throw an aggressive pass down inside for King. Probably a little bit too aggressive that time by TY, Timberland Yeast. And it's a turnover for the Thundering Herd. That's turnover number 8.
And you saw her little stutter step. She wanted to take that pass, and it's kind of like the decision right there. Do I go ahead and take it, or do I hold on to it? She decides to take the pass, and wasn't a bad look per se, because if she gets that over the defender's hands, maybe an aggressive move by the defender, King's wide open underneath the basket, just did not work out.
Minute 10 left to go till the end of the third quarter. As a shot missed by D&E, and Blessing King pulls down the board. King having a big third quarter right now.
I don't hate that shot selection. He had a little bit of space for a wide open shot, just couldn't get it to fall. D&E's had some good shot selections tonight.
Left corner, Redmond, three, wide open, and she finds the bottom of the net. Another three for Marshall. That's 9 in the game now, as Redmond now comes away with the steal for the Herd. Redmond up ahead, Yeast, back to Redmond. Great give and go. And Ariana Redmond has now got 9.
That's so tough for a defender 2-on-1 right there. You don't know who to go to, and the defender focuses on Timberland Yeast, so Yeast can go back to Redmond for a wide open bucket. It's just so tough as a defender on that 2-on-1 situation.
20 seconds till the end of the third quarter as Marion steps into the paint and knocks in a jumper. Marshall leads by 44. The Herd with 27 points in the quarter. 18-4 run for Marshall. Redmond leaves it off King. King, strong attack to the bucket. Loses the basketball across the baseline. Out of bounds off of Davis and Elkins, and Marshall will have possession with 2 on the shot clock, or 2 on the game clock, excuse me. Redmond slaps the ball to trigger it into motion. Pass on the right wing, Yeast. She'll launch from the outside as it rattles out. Timberland Yeast got the open look. They just couldn't find bottom. 74-30. Marshall outscores Davis and Elkins 27-6 in the third quarter. Fourth quarter of action coming up here on ESPN+. Back in Huntington at the Cam Henderson Center, 44-point lead for Marshall, 74-30 as we get started in the fourth quarter of action. Thundering Herd trying to get win number 8. Davis and Elkins trying to improve itself. D&E, as I mentioned, plays 5 games within 7 days as you take a look at the next couple matchups coming up for D&E. Saturday, they travel up to Pittsburgh to take on Point Park for an exhibition contest against Kent State on Monday. Matchup with Wheeling on the 17th. Marshall gets it down inside Lewis Utsi, and she'll head to the line. Before finally a 17-point break, excuse me, my math here. No, 17-day break for Davis and Elkins before they get back into Mountain East Conference play against West Liberty. Maya Lewis-Utsi at the line for Marshall. Yeah, she drops in the free throw, 5 for 5 from the line now. Tamaya Lewis-Utsi as well. That's 26 for her last 27 at the line. She started the year 11 for 19. Finds the bottom of the cup on the next one as well. 16 points now for Tamaya Lewis-Utsi, the Marshall senior out of New Jersey. Marshall leads by 46. D&E with the basketball, Caitlin Parker weaving around a couple screens. Just a strict weave play right now, trying to get somebody with an open shot. As Leilana Forrest takes the shot. Can't draw iron, and it'll be a Marshall basketball now. Marshall now on the boards, plus 21.
A lot of coaches are going to scout that meta 2-3 zone. The weak point is around that free throw line, just that little interior of the meta 2-3 zone. So Davis and Elkins has had some good looks from the mid-range. Try to get that shot off, just some of them haven't been able to fall.
Long three that time by Olsen. Rebound comes off the hands of Parker. It'll be Marshall basketball along the baseline. We kind of talked about Marshall wanted to take more control of the boards, Ben. D&E with just 3 rebounds in the third quarter.
That's one way to do it.
Olsen moving left around the screen. Good defense that time. Ilderton catches the pass. 3-point shot from Ilderton from the right wing. She's got 12. That's 10 threes now for Marshall in the contest.
And that's one way to limit Davis and Elkins having rebounds, is just making the shots. Marshall doing significantly better in and shot makes in that third quarter to not allow those rebounds.
Partially blocked that time on the shot by Sapp, and the Herd comes away with the board. Marshall 10 for 28 from downtown, 36%. Down inside Marigny. Marigny turning, goes up strong with the left hand. Can't get it to fall in, but the foul's going to be called on Kylie Morris. And that'll send Leotra Marigny to the free throw line. Whole host of substitutions, a line change comes in for Davis and Elkins. Marshall with just 10 players dressed tonight. And all 10 have played. Again, the only one not to score, Cassie Ingram. So that'll send Marigny to the line. 75% from the line on the year. She nets the first. 50-point lead for Marshall, 80-30. Again, Marshall gave up 16 points in that first quarter, just 14 cents. Marigny knocks in both free throws. That's now 4 fouls as well on Kylie Morris for Davis and Elkins. Top of the key, Marks. Marks gets bumped by Lewis Utsi, no foul call. Marks into the lane, now kicks it out, Marion. Just a tap pass to Borum. Borum driving. Good aggressive drive by Addison Borum, the freshman from Walkersville, Maryland. As the left-hand shot just kind of pushed it into the air and it falls. Her lead cut back down to 49. Oderton top of the key, dribbling inside, tries to throw a pass. Olsen, a couple jab steps inside, and now Marshall will work it back top of the key. 8 on the shot clock. Lewis Utsi gets inside, banks it in. 18 now for Tamaya Lewis Utsi. She's the game high scorer. Only one other player in double figures in this one. That is Peyton Oderton with 12. Salter goes inside, misses the shot. Meredith Mayer pulls down the rebound for the Herd. Rebound number 2 for Mayer. Lewis Utsi motioning her defense, asking for a screen, and she'll get one. Instead, chooses throw down inside Marigny. Into the corner, now back inside. Post, repost for Marigny. She tries to go up strong. Good defense inside by Sydney Prince. As that forces the jump ball, and D&E will get the possession arrow.
It's a great job by Prince. See here on the replay. All ball, doesn't draw any contact and just holds on to it. Marigny's trying to strengthen herself to get that shot off, but Prince, just good job of staying tall and not allowing that shot to go off, and not only that, but getting the possession back to D&E.
Left wing, Salter. She'll find an open three-point chance. Rebound tapped around into the hands of Mayer, and she gets fouled from behind. Rebound number 3 in this one for Meredith Mayer. Herd pretty evenly distributing minutes. Everybody's played double figures in minutes. As you look, she gets fouled there from behind.
D&E trying to be aggressive, have that 2-on-1 right there, try to set a trap and just box Mayer in. It's a great job by Elderton going coast to coast, but obviously it doesn't work out and get the foul, and Elderton capitalizes there.
Peyton Elderton now with 14, her first 2-point shot of the game. 53-point lead for Marshall, 85-32. It's a quest for 100 right now if you're Marshall. Borum, she'll take the left-handed shot from the right corner, and it comes off the side of the rim. And the Herd back on offense now. Marshall, 31 for 60 from the floor, 52%. Olsen dribbling around a screen, throws it left wing, corner 3. Lewis Utsi is off the rim. Hilderton with the rebound for the Herd. She'll dribble it out. Bounce pass down, or pass down inside. King, up and under, scoop shot, and Blessing King rolls it home. She'll head to the line as now she's in double figures with 10.
Oh, that 10 points in 11 minutes of action for Blessing King. She's been huge coming off the bench for Marshall. I'd like to see that, of course, from your bigs. You have a 3-person rotation on your bigs with Trashonda Williams, Leotra Marigny, and Blessing King, and sometimes you can rotate 2 bigs in there. King's done a great job of just muscling her way to the basket.
Three Marshall players in double figures now. 6 minutes to go in the contest. Marshall leading by 56. Marion steps to the free throw line. There's that jump shot you kind of talked about, Ben, a couple times. Rolls off the back rim, and Blessing King comes down with the board for Marshall. King now has got 10 boards to go along with her 11 points. Left corner 3, Mayer, rainbow 3, finds bottom. Meredith Mayer's got 9, and that's now 11 threes in the game for Marshall. 59-point lead for the Herd, and Marshall's just having fun at this point. D&E works it around the perimeter as we tick down to 5:18 left to go, and D&E turns it over. That's turnover number 20 now for the Senators. Ilderton, the point guard, across midcourt for Marshall, moving left around a screen. Bounce pass on the left wing, Lewis Utsi. She'll drive inside, tries to kick a pass into the corner for Olsen. Led her a little bit too far. And it's a turnover on Marshall, that's number 10. As the Herd will go with some substitutions. Chesterfield, Ingram, Yeast, Redmond, as well as King on the floor for Marshall. Of course, Marshall men's basketball picks up a huge win last night. Be in action on Saturday again against Wright State. Big matchup against the Raiders. Trying to put its best foot forward before the Sun Belt Conference gets started for the Marshall men. Forney Jackson's team, again, a huge win last night. 16-point victory over Western Kentucky. Probably wasn't even that close at times. Here for the Marshall women, leading by 59 with 4.5 minutes to play. Ingram dribbles to the foul line, into the corner for King. King, she's gonna go heat check, three-point shot off the back rim. Yeast comes down with the board. Chesterfield inside, backs down the defender, throws it up off the glass and in. It's 11 points now for Chesterfield as she's into double figures.
Use that body to create your space, create separation. You see it, Chesterfield, one step, bumps the body off. Of course, doesn't draw the offensive foul as well. And it has an easy, wide open bucket.
Baseline jump shot by by Prince. And Sydney Prince gets her first bucket. Marshall lead back down to 59. Ingram thought about a three from the left wing. Instead, she'll drive all the way to the basket, and again, run rolls out. Chesterfield with the board. Goes back up, gets fouled, and Cassie Ingram just can't believe herself right now.
You can see her smiling, laughing about it, just like, man, I can't buy a bucket.
12-2 run for Marshall over the last 4 minutes. We'll be back with the stretch when we get back on ESPN+. Go in Huntington, Marshall with a 59-point lead over Davis and Elkins. Herd getting ready to head to the free throw line. As we come to the stretch of this one, take a look at the upcoming schedule for the Herd. Marshall, of course, goes on Sunday to take on Eastern Kentucky. That game will be played at Transylvania University, the former home of Julie Fulks, before coming back home next Wednesday to play Appalachian State. That's a Kids' Day game, 11 a.m. Chesterfield knocks in the free throw. And then, really, that's when Sun Belt Conference play starts for Marshall. JMU will be here in Huntington before Marshall heads out for a New Year's Day trip against Coastal Carolina and Appalachian State. 60-point lead again for Marshall. Baseline jump shot for Salter, and she rattles it in. Talisi Salter's got 5 now, and it's a 58-point lead for the Thundering Herd. Hand off top of the key, Yeast into the paint, rolls it in. Timberland Yeast, a Euro step to the bucket. She's got 9. And the Marshall lead back out to 60 is, again, the Herd pushing towards that 100 mark. Leading scorer in the contest, 18 for Tamaya Lewis-Utsi for Marshall. She's also got 6 steals, 4 assists, 3 boards. This continues to fill up the stat sheet. Down inside, the pass goes for Ruby Smith, who just came in. Now Marshall quickly in transition. A couple one-touch passes, and Chesterfield lays it in. 98-36 Marshall with the lead. And again, Ben, 16 points in that first quarter for Davis and Elkins. Since then, just 20 total.
It's that fatigue kicking in. You played a game yesterday. Now you got a long stretch ahead of you. A lot of consecutive games coming up.
Borum, long-range 3. Coming down with the rebound was Ruby Smith. And now she'll head to the line. Smith, a sophomore from Masontown, West Virginia. She'll head to the line. She takes the free throw and rolls it in. Smith played 4 minutes last night, did not score in that one. She gets her first bucket this evening. Smith on the year was 50% from the foul line, and she makes both. 60-point lead for Marshall. The Herd looking for that triple digits. Redmond across midcourt. Backdoor pass down inside East. And there's the century mark. 100-38, Marshall with the lead. 62-point lead for Marshall. Second time this year, Marshall has eclipsed that 100 mark. Of course, last time being against Salem earlier this year, that same Salem team that D&E just beat last night. East in the backcourt, gets across midcourt now. Ingram left wing. Ingram scanning. Marshall wants to get her a bucket. Only player in this game for the Herd to not score. Blessing King on the drive, goes towards the basket, has it knocked away from her. Herd maintains possession. It was his last touch by a Senator. Marshall with 5 players in double figures in this one. Redmond inbound with 90 seconds to play. East on the right wing, drives inside aggressively. Ingram, 3 from the wing, off the front rim. Rebound is run down, bodies on the floor. King comes away with it. Marshall gets the ball inside for East, who goes up and lays it in. Good aggressive play by Blessing King to go around Smith and pick it up off the floor.
How about Timberland Yeast really coming alive here in the latter part of this game? It's been an automatic bucket, just driving herself to the basket, making those shots.
Jataya Marks tries to take the shot, and Blessing King on the block for the Herd. 1 minute to play in this one. Marshall gets it across midcourt. Redmond holding on to possession for the Herd. She's had a nice game too. 9 points, 4 boards, 2 assists. Ingram on the drive, kicks it into the corner. Redmond. Redmond's 3 is up in the air, rolls off. Smith comes away with the board and poked away from behind by Redmond. Redmond goes to the bucket, lays it in, and the foul. Redmond poked it away from behind on Smith, rolls in the layup, and now she'll head to the line. .104-38 now. Redmond at the line and sinks the free throw. 12 points now for Ariana Redmond. Marshall with 6 players in double figures. 30 seconds to go in the contest as the Herd leads by 67. Salter moving around King, down inside Smith, and Smith up and in off the glass. 105-40 our score, as Marshall will just sit on the basketball. Redmond gets across midcourt. Herd's going to improve to 8-3 on the season, going into its final non-conference game of the year, final currently scheduled non-conference game. Of course, the MAC Sun Belt Challenge will come up later on in February. But Marshall's going to improve to 8-3 on the season. D&E falls to 1-8. And in this one, then, after that first quarter of action, this was an entire game controlled by Marshall.
Yeah, absolutely. And you saw that fatigue set in for Davis and Elkins. I mean, 16 points in that first quarter. Really, D&E had a good response to Marshall. Most possessions after the Thundering Herd was able to get a bucket. But from there, Marshall made a couple adjustments after that first quarter, really got things going. And again, the 3-point shot, 11 3-pointers, 39 field goals overall. And you look at the points in the paint, 56 points in the paint tonight for Marshall, just being able to automatically get down there, get underneath the bucket, and just find a way to get home.
One thing that Julie Folks talks about for Marshall, they want to be able to get a possession, get a shot off every single time down the floor. 73 field goal attempts tonight for this Marshall team as well, which allows Marshall to get out to that 65-point win tonight against Davis and Elkins. Again, Marshall back in action coming up on the road at Transylvania to take on Eastern Kentucky. And one of the key performers tonight for Marshall was Blessing King, and she joins Riley Burnett.
Blessing, first off, congrats on the win. A double-double tonight. What does that mean for you, not only to contribute in the scoring, but also on the glass?
I just wanted to come back tonight. I've been out for a little bit, and I just wanted to come back and help my team in the best way I could. So, if it's rebounding, if it's scoring, if it's getting, good assists, it's whatever. I just want to help my team win. So, I'm glad we had a good win tonight.
You guys have one more game this weekend before you start conference play next week. What's kind of the message from Coach leading into conference play?
Today we just wanted to use it as a way to fine-tune things before we have 3 pretty big games coming up. So just fixing what we need to fix and going in confident.
One final thing. Last night you were in my shoes. You were the sideline reporter for the men's game, and now you're on the court, and like I said, you just had double-double. So what's so special about being able to kind of do both those things?
Marshall, like when they recruited me, they told me I would be able to do like sideline reporting, which is what I wanted to be in the future. So it's fun to like be able to be on that side of things and be able to play too, because I feel like it gives me a different perspective on the game. So
Congratulations on the win.
thank you.
11 points, 13 rebounds tonight for Blessing King to go along with 3 blocks in this one, which leads Marshall to the 65-point win and improving to 8-3. A lot of thank yous tonight. Logan Miller, Emma Turley, Lincoln Thorne, Tatum McKenna, Emma Gallus, who took about 17 different duties tonight, Jake Maui, Bryce Lusher, Hannah Atkins, and Kylie Dunsel. Also a big thanks to the third member of our broadcast crew, Riley Burnett, as well as David O'Leary and Grant Traylor with the Marshall Sports Information staff. Final score tonight, 105-40, as the Thundering Herd reigns victorious over the Davis and Elkins Senators. So for Ben Westfall, I am Bobby Edding saying so long from the Cam Henderson Center. All games airing on the ESPN networks are streaming live and archived on the ESPN app. This has been a presentation of ESPN.